Thank you all, and thank you so much, Governor and Lieutenant Governor, and for all those who came before you, and for the great work we're going to do together. I also really want to thank our co-chairs this year, Peter Katusian and Thaddeus Miles, because they've been amazing to work with. And it doesn't end with the end of this day. It's sort of a year-long reign, so you'll be hearing more from them.
The theme of the White Ribbon Campaign, Reimagine Manhood, has grown out of many lively and engaging discussions, including Peter and I with the members of this year's White Ribbon Day Honorary Committee. Could those members please stand so that we can recognize those? Yes, Donnell, that means you. What a creative and dedicated group of men and women. We asked ourselves what we wanted the outcomes of our efforts to be. How would we explain to other men and women what we're trying to do? And a many thanks to Press Pass TV for assisting us in updating the PSA. And we would like, if any of you would like to use this PSA, please let us know and we will get it to you. It's a pleasure to share all of this with you. Let's roll the 60-second PSA. Because I want to be a good example for my son.
Because I want my children to have healthy and loving relationships.
Because we can show boys
they have the power to prevent harm or abuse.
Because you taught me that racist and sexist jokes are not okay.
Because I want to teach my players respect.
Because every boy needs to know that somebody cares about them.
Because strong men don't hide their fears or emotions.
Because I'm not afraid to admit that I was wrong.
or don't have the answer.
Because no one should fear the person that is supposed to love them.
Because supporting fairness, equality, and empathy is what men do.
Men are an important piece of the puzzle to ending violence against women. Let's reimagine manhood. I've got to take a second to breathe because I was on the radio show with the sheriff this morning and talked about some of my own personal history, and I'll get a little bit more into that. But when I think about this, I think about at the age of 13, I stepped in front of my mom being beaten by her boyfriend. And her boyfriend put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger. And that moment changed my life. So when I started to move through this, that moment still comes forward. And it takes me a second to get through that, even as a man of 53 years of age. So I just want to take a second. I'm honored to be here with the charge of welcoming all men and boys to be part of the solution to ending violence against women, including and especially all gender-based violence. This work is critical. You know, I'm calling out all of us to join in. What have we done in the past? Well, typically, we identify social responsible solutions, and then we expect those most burdened by them to be the ones responsible for implementing the remedy. Not anymore. It is imperative that we, as men, join this fight because of many, many reasons. One, it allows us the opportunity to reimagine our manhood, personally and professionally and as community leaders. Two, joining the fight illustrates how the community has an opportunity to influence boys to embrace full respect and cooperation as a value in relationship before we are intervening. It is a way that we can teach what is real, what real manhood looks like. For example, we can model a belief that sexual consent holds a high value. 3, we can find empathy and responsibility in the same breath. In my work on human trafficking, although I was a believer on the onset, I still had to question some beliefs of what I didn't even know existed. When offered the opportunity to talk and meet with women who had survived prostitution, I was met with the reality that for many, this is not something you recover from. Survival and recovery are not the same thing. Let me pause again for a moment to share the most important reason to me. And I touched on that a bit. But I recall the day, the moment when my responsibility became so clear that I could no longer stay silent. The impact of violence in my own home with my mother as the primary target resonated throughout my entire childhood as well as my adulthood. The thing, however, that changed my perspective on my responsibility was this final call of action that I'd like to share. The final and most important lesson for me in this vision is the vision that I have for the kind of man I want my son to be as he travels through his own manhood. I want to challenge us as men to do the following: ask, listen, act, ask again if we got it right. Thank you.